Where is he?
Where are you? Skull Rock. Do you know it?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Rock broadcast. This is Stacy, joined by...
Hello, this is Megan. Welcome back to Skull Rock Broadcast, our Stranger Things podcast. We are so happy to be here with you today. How's it going, Stacy?
It's going pretty good. I'm dog sitting right now for my friend Kathy for a whole month. So I got a golden retriever off to the side, Finn, and then I brought along my dog, Quinn. So he's going to be my little podcast partner with his inside out ear, sitting on my lap. So a lot of dogs, must love dogs. But yeah, things are going pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. I didn't realize you were what am I saying? That you were dog sitting for the whole month. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and then I'm doing it again in April for another dog. So dogs just love me, I guess, but Finn wants nothing to do with Quinn. So you can imagine the mix-ups I make. I just keep saying Quinn or Finn. It's just a lot right now. But don't worry, guys. Further down the road, I'll get one named Kiri, and it will be perfect.
Yeah, you'll be set. Yeah, I've been sick the past couple of days, so I feel like that's a switch up. I feel like it's usually you who's
It's
coming
usually
on
me,
here
so pass
to
my
say
sickness
that
down
you've
to you.
been sick.
Yep.
Yeah, but feeling a little bit better, but hopefully I don't sound too off and I'll edit out any coughs or sniffles.
We're all good. What I thought was so great was Joe Carey has been a busy bumblebee, as we know.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Now, I want you to share what has he been up to this past week? Because we know his song is still climbing the charts like crazy.
It's still End of Beginning is still climbing the charts. He has been hanging out in London.
Yes.
So that was pretty cool. He presented an award at the Brits award show.
Okay.
Which I mean, I'd never heard of the Brits.
No idea,
but...
man. Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the UK, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
You have heard of it.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool. And then they asked him who he was going to hang out with while he was in London. And he did say Sam Spruill, who was in Fargo with him. I guess he was the guy that played like Munch or whatever.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then he said he was going to hang out with Joseph Quinn. So hopefully they had fun hanging out together.
You could hear Meghan and Stacy squealing from the United States.
Yeah, and he was on a radio show this morning, I guess like a BBC One. I don't know. Again, I'm not up with my UK stuff. And there were some fans who got to meet him today. They invited some fans to come watch the radio show as they were recording. So that was really cool.
I love that he was at Third Man Records, which I guess is owned by Jack White. And I immediately had to message my friend Melissa, who is a huge Jack White fan. And I was like, is this in America? And she said, no, there's several locations. One's in England, which, speaking of fans, what was something else he went to in England that was huge?
Oh, he went to see the play. So the Stranger Things play, The First Shadow, that was super cool to see him kind of taking pictures with a bunch of the cast of the play. And I'm jealous because he now gets to know what happened in the play.
You and I are itching to find out.
I know, but we don't want spoilers.
That's the thing. And we want to witness it in person. Obviously, it being in England, that's a bit of a stretch. Stacey doesn't have a passport. So we're hoping that either it eventually comes to America, we win the lottery, or it ends up streaming. So one of the three, guys. One of the three.
Well, you need to apply for a passport in case that lottery winning happens.
Everybody has said that. When Joseph Quinn first went to Canada last year, I was like, can I get into Canada? And everyone was like, oh, you can get into Canada. You just can't leave. And I'm like,
right. You'll be stuck there.
Could you imagine? I hate the cold. But no, also another really cool thing that happened today was the person who runs kind of like the Kurt's World 96 Twitter and YouTube page. It's how would I describe it? It's almost like somebody is acting like they're Kurt, but really they're not. And they've been keeping up with this page since Spree came out in 2020.
The movie that Joe Carey was in, Spree.
And kind of like acting like the character of Kurt, just really like hungry for media attention and likes and follows and stuff. And they kind of gave this like really weird post today. And people like almost like, no, I'm a 20-year-old college student, which would have been his age in the, movie. And
Yeah.
basically was like, I'm not going to be posting anymore. It was just very vague.
It was, like, ominous, a little ominous,
Yeah.
and it didn't really add up because it just seems like if he's 20 now, he's been running this page for a couple years now. Like, did
Yeah.
he start it when he was still in high school? Like, I don't know.
So a
That's
lot of
seems
people are
suspicious.
thinking like either the person who's really running this account has just had it, they're done. But then
Yeah.
another person was like, I think it's almost like a teaser for Spree 2. And somebody asked Joe Keery recently, and he was like, oh, I can't talk about it.
Mm.
So, that's the thing. Like they said, oh, they were going to make a movie based off the events of Spree. And that's how like, kinda almost the end of the movie kinda makes it almost, like, up in the air that maybe Kurt's legacy will live on in some sick, twisted way.
Yeah.
If Joe Carey's I don't know how they could do it, but if Joe Carey's willing to come back and do a sequel, after Marmalade, that's my favorite movie of his. I love it. So, if he's gonna do a Spree 2, I'm all for it.
Yeah. That would be super cool. I mean, like we said, it's just rumors at this point and just
Yeah.
kind of like things that are suspicious with like the timing of everything, but that would be awesome.
I think we're gonna probably wait a while because Marmalade, we wanna keep it spoiler free because we know not everybody can access it right now or buy it or rent it, but we were blown away by it. But the thing is the payoff is just so well done. I want people to view it and experience it because when I was watching Brandy and her husband Andy watch it, I was like giddy because they were like, "Are you kidding me?" Because it's twist
Yeah.
after twist after twist. It's got a great payoff. So we're gonna wait a while before we do a deep dive on that movie, guys. But we can't urge you enough to go check it out. The theme of today.
Our plan for today.
Yes.
Let's see if we're prepared at all.
I can't.
Okay, our plan for today.
Underrated
Underrated duos. So we had our
duos.
favorite duos, which we had a lot of fun with. So
Yes.
we figured we would talk about some more duos and the ones that are underrated. Either people don't appreciate them enough or they didn't get like enough screen time, in our opinion, because
Yeah.
they have a lot of potential to be a cool like friendship or pairing or just like partners in crime kind of thing. So for each of them, and they're in no particular order,
Nope.
but we'll talk about some of our favorite moments with them and then like what makes them so underrated, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're gonna start off with Jonathan and Argyle.
I have to like throw in their fun little ship name, whether it's just like their bromance or whatever, but Jargyle.
That is fantastic.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Right? Like, man, that is so good. I was so bummed out when he canceled New Orleans Argyle.
Was he supposed to be there?
He was supposed to be there. He just seems like
Bummer.
such a cool dude. And I
Yeah.
loved him as an addition. Like I was laughing my ass off when he's yelling, Nina, because he thinks it's a small woman. I felt like so a lot of people had a problem with Jonathan. They said he was kind of underused this season, but I have to
Uh-huh.
say his friendship with Argyle was such a comedic highlight
Yes.
because Jonathan kind of played it as kind of like the good boy, and now he's getting older. And basically, all he's doing is getting high with Argyle, and Argyle is just the stereotypical stoner.
Right. And he's been through so much. Can you really blame him?
This boy deserves a little weed.
Yeah, a little escape. Like,
Yeah.
come on, who can really blame him?
And that's the thing, like, I actually found Jonathan kinda, like, comedic a little bit in this. Argyle's having a panic attack after the whole shootout, and he's like, "Purple palm tree delight," and Will's like, More weed, that's the answer," and he's like, "It's the only way to calm him down." So, I just found it really comedic, and I did like the little talk that they have when after they drop the kids off at Rinkorama, and they're just hitting golf balls into that, like, quarry with the cars, and I liked that Jonathan kinda almost, like, admits that he's not gonna go to Emerson. He's kind of feeling like he might be breaking up with Nancy because the long distance is a strain,
Yeah.
and Argyle is the one that's like, almost the voice of reason, even though he's higher than a kite, which I love.
Yeah. Yeah. And he gives him some good advice, I feel like. He's like
Yeah.
realistic about things. So he's
Hmm.
like, you can't just keep lying to everybody like about it.
Yeah.
So,
And he's the only one that Jonathan kind of confides in about this
right.
big secret. And, just even from the very beginning when they're at wood shop, he's like, you're crazy about her. Like, why are you doing this? And just the fact that he just went with the flow and just decided to drive them all the way to Indiana, like, props to him.
He's a good friend.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
props to him.
Absolutely. And he just kind of, I mean, the whole Surfer Boy Pizza like branding of this season was
So good.
wild. And I don't think it would have been as iconic if it wasn't for him and
Yeah.
for Eduardo's amazing performance as Argyle. Like, I think, like you said, it was such a comedic highlight. It was brought some like lightheartedness.
Which was needed this season because this
Yes.
season was dark as hell.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like there's rumors that we're not getting Argyle in season 5, and that's absolutely like a huge bummer if we don't.
My fingers are crossed that he was, like, told that he was gonna be in it, and he is gonna be in it, and it's more of a surprise.
Right.
So, yes, in that interview, he did say, like, he didn't even get a call, which, ugh, but we're hoping that maybe it's just him covering up, and he will be in it because this character will be missed. Like, I understand he's from California, would it really make sense? But I do love that the last shot of him is gathering mushrooms while
Yeah.
everyone is fixing up the cabin. So, I feel like their friendship was a comedic highlight. I felt like it was much, much needed. And I feel like they played off each other so well. And even though this isn't a moment in the show, but the bloopers of him
Of
trying to
yeah, with
say,
him and Charlie.
like Charlie losing it because he was like, I'm a magical suck. And like just Charlie just wasn't able to keep it together. But that's probably one of my top bloopers of all time. But they had great
Yeah,
chemistry.
it's hilarious for sure. They had amazing chemistry.
Have you tried the Surfer Boy pizza?
I have. I've gotten the cheese and the pineapple with jalapeno because I
Ooh.
don't eat meat. So those were the only 2 flavors I could try.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. See, I tried the Supreme.
Okay. How was that?
I mean, it was pretty good for a frozen pizza. I still find it like interesting that it's still in the freezer section at Walmart. And I'm like, how old are those? But
Hopefully they're continuing to get new ones.
I'm
But
hoping. I'm
I
hoping.
did also have Surfer Boy Pizza at the Stranger Things experience when I went to that in Atlanta.
Lucky duck. Oh my God. But I do agree with Eduardo. I do own quite a few Surfer Boy Pizza merch items.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so iconic that, they use the Surfer Boy Pizza boxes as the glasses. I think that is iconic.
Yeah.
So he is the reason, along with Jonathan's friendship, that I feel like that brand, like you said, really took off.
Did you ever try calling the phone number on the side of the Surfer Boy Pizza van? I
No.
don't know if it still works, but like right after season 4, you could call that phone number and it was like Argyle's, it was like a recording with
What's the
Argyle.
number? Let's do this.
Are we gonna do it live on
I'll
the
put
show
myself
and
on
see if
speed.
it
Yeah,
still
fuck it.
see if it still works?
We're throwing caution to the wind, guys.
805
805
457
457
4992.
4992.
Yes.
Surf's up. Surfer Boy Pizza. This is Argyle speaking. We make everything fresh here at Surfer Boy except for our pineapple, which comes from a can. But I still highly recommend slapping some juicy pineapple on your pie. Oh, fruit on your pizza's gnarly, you say. Well, I say try before you deny.
Yes.
That is probably the highlight of my day, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
can't
Thank
believe
you,
you had
Megan.
never done that before.
Never. That's terrible. Our next duo.
Nancy and Robin. Nancy
Aw.
Wheeler, Robin Buckley. They were the best.
They were.
They were a really great duo in season 4.
I like them together, yeah.
I was really excited for Nancy, for both of them, but especially for Nancy, to have like a female friend who is her own age.
Exactly.
She used to.
She used to. Damn. Well,
Rest in peace.
pour one out, Barb. Moving on. It was nice seeing her with Robin, and we've mentioned before, Robin was nervous around her. So in the library,
Yeah.
she was, like kind of getting a little like worked up. And like we said, for all we know, like this character back in the 80s could have had undiagnosed ADHD, God knows
Yeah,
what.
for sure, for sure. Yeah.
And she was kind of, like kind of getting a little hyper, a little annoying. And I do like that at first Robin thinks, because it looks like it, that Robin and Steve are together.
Yeah.
And Robin, I love, that makes it very clear they're platonic with a capital P. And she tries to make Nancy comfortable about it. But Robin, right off the bat, senses that something's off with Nancy, and it has to do with Jonathan. And I like that they
Mhm.
have those few little talks, especially in the woods, where right away Nancy's like, "Oh, so you consider me a friend?" And she's like, kind of like, almost like, vent, kind of tell me what's bothering you about your boyfriend. And Nancy finally is able to let it out. But seeing them together at Penhurst was
That was
fantastic.
hilarious. Yeah. Speaking of comedic moments, like
Fantastic.
they were great. They were great. Robin, like, taking over. What was the story that she tells about little Petey?
Oh my God. She's like, yeah, that campfire story, scared everybody but me. And like I said, that's the real Barbie speech, where she's like, these aren't even my clothes. And she's just so uncomfortable because Nancy dressed her up. And I just
Yes.
love her being like, I can't run. It took me forever to learn how to walk as a baby. And it's just such a comedic moment to them together. And I do love that, Nancy, once they get in the car, she's like, you do run really weird. And together they were able to talk to Victor and kind of figure out the whole music thing. But I like that they kind of teamed up. And one of my favorite moments with them is after Steve, goes back into the upside down and does kind of like a
Mhm.
flip. And you just see Robin next to Nancy, like rolling her eyes. And she's like, what does he want us to do? Applaud? Like, it's just such a good moment that
Yeah.
they're friends now. They're chill. I love it.
And they can give Steve like a hard time together.
Yeah. Like,
Like,
why not?
I love that. Yeah.
But such a great duo, and, I'm excited to see what they're gonna be up to in season 5.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think some of these that we're talking about, or at least the past two, were like new to season 4 duos. And it was
Yes.
cool. That was one of the cool things about season 4, was to get to see some different people interacting with each other. And we're definitely curious to see what happens with both of them in season 5.
Yeah, so fingers crossed we get some more really great moments between them because they were awesome. So our next one,
Yeah.
it's the creme de la creme, people. This
If you know,
was,
you know.
if you know, you know, probably the pair that, inspired even this podcast, but Steve and Eddie.
So Steve Harrington and Eddie Munson, just as a strictly platonic just duo,
Mhm.
the most iconic scene is obviously where they're walking in the upside down. They get like a good 3 minutes. And like I feel like in a show, like that's a long scene
Yes.
to have them talking and having a conversation for so long. But they're kind of like thanking each other for
Mhm.
helping each other out. Steve is thanking Eddie for helping him out with the bats, and Eddie's like saying that he was so impressed with Steve, like that
Yeah.
what he did was so metal. And then Eddie goes on to just tell Steve like that he is so much more than he expected, and that
Yes.
he was like shocked when the kids would tell him what a badass he was,
Mm.
and that he's like seeing it for himself. It's one of the only scenes I think that somebody tells Steve that Steve is a good person. Like, obviously, as an audience, we all love Steve by
Mhm.
now. But like the characters are always shitting on him. They're always giving
They
him a hard
really
time.
are.
Even his closest friends.
Yeah, like Robin's, always giving him a good ribbing and stuff. And like the same with Dustin. Dustin's getting really sassy.
Yes.
And you can just tell that, Steve's a little in limbo right now with both relationships, job, life, and I like that Eddie, they were polar opposites. They probably knew each other vaguely from school. And he basically was like, you're rich, you get chicks all the time, but you're a good dude, and it's almost like he takes a moment to just tell him, like, "You're a good guy." And Steve actually looks kind of touched, especially when he tells him that Henderson, worships him and looks up
Right.
to him and stuff. And it was just really nice that Steve was told this. And even such a simple thing like when they get into the upside down, he gives him his vest. And I know it's for his modesty, but it was still such a kind, nice thing seeing
Gesture,
these
yeah.
two guys that were very similar in age. And even though they're polar opposites on the, social spectrum, that they kind of instantly trauma bonded and got along.
Yeah.
And I just really like
Eddie, when Steve's about to jump in the water, Eddie like wraps up the flashlight in a plastic bag and
yep,
is like giving it to him. And
wishes him
Steve's
good
like,
luck.
thanks, man. Like,
Yeah. I just find it so nice. Like just little things, that shows that they were nice to each other. They were good to each other. And I
right.
really loved the moment when the RV scene when he's, hot wiring it. And Steve actually seems interested. He's like, "Where'd you learn how to do this?" And he
Yeah.
kind of, it glimpses into Eddie's life, talking about his father and stuff. But I love that, that improvised moment of him being like, "Harrington's got her, don't you, big boy," which everyone hears on this podcast. And it's just such a great moment, like the look of confusion on Steve's face. But, I just feel like we were a little robbed personally seeing Steve, Robin, and Nancy's reaction to Eddie's death. And
Yeah.
who knows, maybe we'll get a flashback or something in next season, but maybe it was just a little too much, especially after seeing, him die in Dustin's arms. But I really did like the chemistry between Joe Keery and Joseph Quinn. They played off each other really wonderful. And it's a shame that Eddie died. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in season 5, but it was nice to see him with, much like Robin and Nancy, somebody his own age to play off of.
Right. And it was, I guess, another moment was when Steve is leaving him and Dustin together, and
Mm,
he's like telling them like not to be heroes, and he's kind of trusting Eddie to take care of
yeah,
Dustin because he would never leave Dustin with someone he didn't trust to like take care of him. So he's like listen, like you guys just stick to the
don't be a
plan.
hero. Yeah.
Don't try to be a hero. And
And it's such a subtle moment when Eddie goes Steve, and it's him the first time I think him calling him Steve because he was calling him Harrington the whole time, and he
yeah,
just goes, "Make him pay." And just that subtle nod between the two characters, and it's in the opening. Like the credits haven't even rolled yet. It gives me chills every time because, like you said, he's trusting him with Dustin, who's basically his surrogate little brother. And it's just such a really like great moment to see how they've bonded together, you
right.
know?
And I mean, Eddie's trusting Steve to, take care of Vecna.
Yeah.
Really great duo. Lots of powerful moments, I think, between the two of them. And just like you said, kind of just endearing to kind of see the connection that they made in such a short amount of time. And a lot of that has to do with, like you said, I think the chemistry that the two actors had as they played off of each other. So
5 stars.
we had more planned, but we're going to have to do a part 2 of this. So we're just going to do one more. And we decided to do one more that is a duo that is primarily in season 4
Mhm.
because all of the other duos that we talked about were from season 4. And next time we talk about underrated duos, we've got some other ones from some other seasons. So
Yeah.
you can look forward to that. But our last duo that we are going to talk about today is
Joyce and Murray.
Joyce and Murray. Again, definitely a lot of comedic moments
Oh
in
my
season
god.
4, which was definitely, again, necessary with all of the deep kind of like traumatic things that happen in that storyline with the Russia stuff. But I think from the very beginning, one of my favorite moments of theirs in season 4 is when she gets the box and she
Yes.
calls him. And for one, like, what is he doing? Like in his
Oh my god.
apartment, in his like home, like with the
Taking his
ice and
ice bath.
everything.
My god. And then, like, the fact that he, like, shows her how to, like, open the box because he's
Yes.
afraid there's a bomb. That kills
And to
me when, like
crush the doll. Like So she's
There could be an
she's
explosion.
out in the front yard. She's out in the front yard, and those 2 little kids are, like, watching her from down the
Watching?
street.
What is she doing? Yeah, that still kills me, and I love that, she drops it, and he doesn't hear anything, so he's screaming like, "Joyce, Joyce!" It's so good because if you think back to season 3 when she kinda, like, rips him a new one when they first go there, like, it's
Yes.
just so funny to see how far they've went, and I love that he gets on a plane immediately and goes to California, and I just love later on, like, first of all, they figure it out, and I love the look on their faces when they figure out that Hopper probably is still alive, and being like, "He
Yeah.
sounds like Jim," and just, like, I love when he's like, you know, I wish it was true too, because you can tell that they both, mourn the loss of Hopper, but I do love when they kinda spark it and realize, no, he's probably alive, but my favorite moment has to be when the kids come home and he's cooking. That kills me. That entire scene.
With the risotto.
Oh my god, and just him being like, "It's the risotto, isn't it?" And Jonathan's so stoned. He's like, "No, it's absolutely amazing." But just him and Joyce, like, remember, she's like, "Phil," I'm gonna screw up the names, but she's like, "Phil and Nancy Botanica," and he's just, like, shaking his head at her. Like, I just love it, and just the fact that they're able to go to Alaska, they get drugged, like, and then them just playing off each other afterwards, talking about, like, how there's bears out there, and it's so well done, just their bickering, and I do love that Hopper later on is, like, getting along with Murray, and she's like, "Yeah, he's the Starksy to my Hutch," like, it's
That was
just
a
so,
fun
so well
reference.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, absolutely, yeah, and I think, like you said, that kind of, like, shows Maury's character that he's, like, so quick to get on a plane. I like when he's, like, getting off the plane at the same time that, like, the kids are at the airport and they, like, just miss each other kind of thing,
This is
like
life or death. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But it just shows that he really cares about Joyce. And I do love when they're on the plane after they've been kidnapped. And right away, she's like, "How old are the kids that you fight in karate?" And it's just like, he talks himself, like, basically, he's like, "Thank you, Joyce, for talking me up about this." And just the whole, my hands are like, what is it? My fingers are like knives. You're like, I don't even know. But I do
it's
love the look
hilarious.
on Joyce's face when he's like, the last kid that I beat was 14 and he was like one hell of a fighter. So it's just like we said, it supplies enough comedic relief during such a dark season, but I love how they played off each other, and basically they're the reason Jim survived. So
Yeah,
amazing.
and that plane part was kind of nerve-wracking, actually, like, when he's
Mhm.
fighting the guy, like, in the plane that's flying, like, that was so nerve-wracking, and then they crash, like, but
Survived, walked through Alaska wilderness, like, okay, or
yeah,
Russia, wherever it was, like, pretty crazy, but I do love that, like I said, they're the reason why Hopper's able to escape, and you talked about that moment before, and I love that they're all together and they team up throughout the entire time, them realizing that, this monster is still out there, and they kind of figure out, like, well, there's a way we can take down the Demodogs, the Demogorgon, and kind of almost help
help
the
the
kids.
kids,
And I
yeah.
just love that the three of them team up, and it's just such a rewarding moment of them all fighting together. So I really do love how far that these two characters have come.
Yeah, yeah, from, like, that kind of, like, iffy beginning in season 3, and they
Hmm.
do go through so much together in season 3
Yeah.
to where they are in season 4, for sure. Yeah, so they're a fun duo also that don't get talked about too much.
No, they don't. They don't. But no, like we said, we'll do a part 2. Definitely, this was mostly season 4 themed, but we have some really good duos that we'll discuss in a future episode from earlier seasons that may surprise you actually, but like we said, they're totally underrated.
Exactly, yeah, and we'll have some other fun episodes coming up. I think did I tell you the winner of our character episode when I put it in our
No.
stories?
Who is it?
But the winner was Dustin Henderson. Yeah, we definitely have to do a whole episode on him for sure. Like that
Absolutely.
will definitely be in the works soon too. Okay, so filming updates. We have quite a few things going on, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool. We had another post from the Duffer Brothers,
Yep.
and we had Sadie Sink on set
Yep.
starting filming a cute little like video of Sadie and Caleb is like braiding her hair
So
and like
cute.
they're absolutely adorable. And some behind the scenes photos of Sadie in the hospital bed with
Yeah.
Caleb sitting by her side. So that's kind of like, how they ended season 4. So that's interesting with like time jump, like, is she in a coma for that long?
Yeah.
Like, or is this kind of like one of the scenes that is going to be like immediately after season 4?
Just like she's not hooked up to anything. She's just laying there. Maybe they just did it for the photo, but I do love that they took a photo of the Kate Bush cassette on the nightstand right near
Yeah.
her bed. Like, that was fantastic.
It's also interesting to me because a lot of the like sort of leaked stuff that's coming out, the
Mhm.
Duffer Brothers are then like following up with like
Yeah.
official posts about it. So, like the farm that we've talked about before, the radio tower, even like I think that
That
the
was
radio
cool.
tower, so they actually had Steve's car, the
Oh,
BMW,
love that
is
car.
at the radio tower set. And I think that was the first time we'd seen the radio tower like on an official post. Like it was
Mhm.
mostly like that leaked content that we
Yes.
knew about the radio tower,
Yeah.
like the outside of that set. So
Mhm.
they also posted this really like cryptic, like blueprints type instructions thing
Yeah.
for like something to do with the radio. And I think we're kind of in agreement that that's probably what Jonathan and Steve were kind of like trying to figure out
Yeah.
in that like previs situation that came out before
Yeah.
where it was like animated.
Yeah. What nightmares are made out of.
So we've got more about the radio tower. Like also what I was saying with the leaked stuff, like there was the leaked stuff of the upside down set in the park, and then we
Yeah.
got a photo of one of the Duffer brothers like walking through that. And there was the
Yep.
leaked stuff about Castle Byers, and we got an official photo of Castle Byers like
So
in the
cool.
upside down. Lots of cool kind of like confirmations from the Duffer brothers of these like the stuff that we've been seeing. And then finally, Kara, who plays Mrs. Wheeler, Karen Wheeler,
Yep.
is back at work. And they also showed some behind the scenes of the Wheeler's house, the set of the Wheeler's house. So,
Which is so cool to just see
yeah,
again.
yeah,
And I just love how active like the actors have been. Like obviously, Joe Carey is about, but I do love that Maya and Millie Bobby Brown were both on Jimmy Fallon. Like that's
yeah.
just so cool that they're making appearances. Obviously, they're promoting albums and other works, but it's nice to see them out and about, but also on set.
Yeah, and Millie has that cool movie coming out this weekend,
Damsel,
Damsel.
she looks like a badass, and it's going to be on Netflix, so I'm very excited to watch that.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch that too. And I was just looking at a behind the scenes video right before we started recording of her like doing all of her stunts on that set too. So
She's a
that was pretty
badass.
cool. Yeah. And did you see that she had her dog with her on Jimmy Fallon?
Which I loved it just sitting right beside her. Like right now I'm holding Quinn, my
I
dog, but
know.
I'm just like, I get it as a dog owner, I just love how much she loves her animals. She's been like
Yeah.
that ever since she started acting. So it's really heartwarming.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess like I probably would have rolled my eyes at it a little bit before I got my dog, but like I literally want to take Leia everywhere, so I totally get it now. like
Yeah. Now
like
we're like, okay, we get it. We get it. So cute.
yeah, it was adorable. You've got some fun stuff to talk about for merch.
So I do. So throughout the episode, I have been slurping on a Demogorgon Frappuccino, which Quinn is licking the cup of. Mind you, I'm going to have a stomachache later, but back in 2022, before you knew me, I used to go on Instagram and I would try the secret menu, Stranger Things themed drinks, and some were amazing, some were awful. This one is a little too sweet for me, but it's called the Demogorgon Frappuccino. Guys, do not say that when you order it. This is how you order it. You feel
Okay.
like such a douchebag doing it, but you start by ordering a grande green tea frappuccino with only
Okay.
1 scoop of matcha.
Uh-huh. Matcha. Yeah.
Then ask for 1 scoop of Java chips and 1 pump of white mocha. Finally, ask for strawberry puree in the bottom of the cup, as well as mocha drizzle on top of the whipped cream. So when I ordered this today, now mind you, I tried it way back in 2022. It's like a hot fudge sundae. If you don't like sweets, don't order it. But it's
Yeah.
good, it's not bad. Definitely one of the better ones that I tried, but it brought back a lot of memories. And when I was ordering it, I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. This is a secret menu. And they were super cool about it. But I'll definitely send you a picture of what it looks like before I slurped it down. It's green and red and really interesting looking. So I'm thinking next week I'll order another secret menu item. Maybe you guys can help me figure out which one. I don't have a TikTok, but I try to look them up. So help me, guys. So
Yeah.
that was one thing, which I think would be fun.
You want a pro tip for if you don't want to like order it?
Always.
So you just download the app and then you put all of those special things in.
Shut up.
It depends on, they'll let you pretty much customize like anything on the app.
Oh my God. Because I felt like such an asshole. That's amazing.
I would do that and see because most of those things you probably could have done like on the app as customizations to your drinks. So then it saves you I'm such an introvert. If like a place has like an app where I can
Same.
like Taco Bell. Okay, so I'm a vegetarian. So if I want to eat Taco Bell, I always have to say like beans instead of meat. And it's like
Yep.
a whole big thing. But now Taco Bell's app makes it like so easy to like find all of the vegetarian options and make all of the substitutions. And then
That's
it's like
amazing.
there on the computer already for them as they're making it. So they don't have to for one thing, they don't make any mistakes as they're entering it in. And then you don't have to actually say it.
That is fantastic because with me, I'm sticking halfway out my car window and I'm like, all right, so this is what you got to do. So you just blew my mind with the app. But yeah, like I said, we'll post a picture of what it looks like. I mean, it's sweet, a little too sweet for me, but I do recommend it. And maybe you guys can come up with another drink for me to try next week. The other thing for merch, I have to shout out this wonderful, wonderful Etsy business called on Instagram. It's called It's Boo Mail. Boo Mail, and they make some amazing prints, stickers, charms, pins. A lot of it is Joe Carey themed. We get a beautiful gator print, a marmalade print, lots of Steve and Joe, DJO, really,
Cool.
really pretty stuff, custom stickers. I gotta tell you, I'm dying to buy from them, but they are an incredible, incredible business. So check out It's Boo Mail on Etsy or on Instagram.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll have
Yeah,
to follow them on our podcast account too.
they are sick.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today.
I think
That was
that's
a
it,
fun
guys.
conversation as always.
That was.
And we have lots of fun stuff coming up.
Oh yeah.
Part 2 of this episode. We have our Dustin episode. We have lots of fun stuff coming up for you soon. So we will talk to you again soon. Oh, also, I mean, we'll have to just take a poll of when people might want us to start a season 1 deep dive. We could probably do
Yes.
that coming up.
I love that.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe before the summer at least.
I think that'd be cool.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be so fun to do season 3 during the summer?
Dude.
Oh, but then it's I also would love to do season 2 around Halloween. So it's
Halloween,
we have
yeah.
to watch the seasons out of order.
we might have to, but you know what? That might make us stand out. So who knows, guys?
But we could do season 1 soon, I feel like. But we'll see. We'll see.
All
We'll
that.
plan it out. Well, talk to you next time. Signing off.
Over and out.
Over and out.
Eddie, I'm not sure I love the idea of you driving.
Oh, I'm starting to suck her. Harrington's got her. Don't you, big boy?
And we're back.
And we're back.
Of course. So this is our secret study segment. So we talked a little bit about Steve and Eddie earlier, but as you
we had to
know,
hold back.
we always have to talk about them at the end of our episodes, because they are our favorite, and
Of
I
course.
don't think they're underrated when it comes to fan fiction. I
Not
think
at all. Do you remember they won? They were like, what was it, #1 for archive
so.
for parents?
2022 In 2022, they were the top ship on
Whew.
AO3 on Archive of Our Own.
Which that's
So
an achievement, guys.
yeah,
Holy
especially
shit.
because Eddie didn't even exist until May. Like,
Yep.
and that was like halfway through the year. So they had the most fan fictions written about them than any other pairing during that year. And they were still in like the top 5 for 2023 also.
I feel maybe next episode or further down the road, we should talk about some of the first fics, if we can look back that far or remember that we first read about them, because there was some gold. And it put, like, I had never even heard of Archive. And it was because of study that I discovered them. But there were like 4 or 5 stories that just roped me in. So maybe next episode we'll do a deep dive about that. But
Yeah.
man, oh man, the chemistry just writes itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said that you wanted to talk about O-Stars today, and I know that they were
Oh,
like one of the early ones that started writing The Man That I Could Be, which I was thinking to myself,
so good.
it would definitely not be the same experience going back and reading it now.
Yeah.
It was just some, I mean, it's still great, but like there was just like a magic to it because I had literally never really read fan fiction before.
Hmm.
I was just like, this is interesting, these two guys. And like the angst of the beginning of that fic is just
Oh,
like magical. And like, just, it was just my first experience with it. And it was amazing. And it just kind of like threw me head first into this like world that I never want to leave.
I'm telling you, O-Stars, they've roped me in. I mean, of course, The Man That I Could Be was one of the first ones I read. I've been reading the one of him as a single dad, and they haven't updated since February, I believe, but that's been incredible. But I stumbled upon this story called Yours All Along. And
Hmm.
it's supposed to be that Eddie lives, and basically something happened. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but Steve and Eddie supposedly hooked up, or Eddie confessed his feelings and something went amiss. And basically Eddie was like, I can't do this. He left Hawkins, and he ended up restarting his life and actually getting his teacher's license, which is pretty cool. So he's a high school. This takes place like 10, maybe 15 years down the road.
Okay.
And he's living in North Carolina, which is beautiful. And he's teaching. And, you know, Wayne eventually moves in with him. But then this kid shows up, this like 14-year-old kid. He's teaching English literature, I believe. And the
That
kid's
tracks.
kind of exactly, you know, and he's the kind of teacher that, you know, Dead Poet Society, he's standing on desks, he's trying to be theatrical, talks about how much he loves Romeo and Juliet and has the kids playing out. He's one of those really fun theatrical teachers.
Yeah.
And there's this kid that comes, and he finds out, lo and behold, it's Steve Harrington and Robin Buckley's kid.
Oh.
And they both teach at the same school. And they're married. And right away, Eddie's like, whoa, wait. Because he knows, you know, that this
Yeah.
is basically a lavender marriage.
Yeah.
And he sees that they have a little girl too. And I'm not going to spoil
Aw.
anything, but it shows how something is wrong with their teenage son. And I won't get into it, but he's sick and it gets a little heavy. And it shows how overprotective Steve and Robin are of their kid. And there's a bunch of high tensions because of how things were left 15 years ago in Hawkins. and kind of the tension and what's going on. Steve, obviously, as a parent, is struggling that his son is so sick and he's very overprotective of him. And it kind of slowly shows them kind of revealing, it's almost like an onion, them peeling back the layers, kind of showing what has gone down these last 15 years. Like, I was literally like, wait a second, like, who's who? Are these kids biological? What's going on? And I'm probably on maybe chapter 6 or 7, but they write the teenage son so well. But O Stars really knows how to handle heavy material, but just make it so poetic. So
Yeah,
I've been having a blast reading this
that
one.
sounds awesome. Yeah. Is it a long one? Like lots of chapters?
It is 16 chapters. It is complete.
Okay.
And the chapters aren't crazy long, but like I said, I'm probably on chapter 6, but I'm moving along. And I got to tell you, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, that's really cool. Anything else that you've been reading this
I
week?
mean, a few other things here and there. I mean, I go on Tumblr and read Gator Fix because yeehaw. And I do know that an author that we know on Instagram, Tell Me a Story 86, very
Okay.
talented author.
Yeah.
I actually recently asked her, I was like, could I get the link to your Eddie Gatorfic? So I think that's what I'm going to start after I finish this. But I have a bunch of podfics that I still got to keep up on. So we will see, but that's kind of what I've been reading right now. But Tell Me a Story 86, hell of a fan, wonderful, wonderful person, and very talented writer. So
Yeah.
what have
Yeah,
you
she's
been
great.
reading?
So I had like a little bit of like a random reading weekend with like being sick.
Yeah.
I finished a couple things. Oh, so I read chapter 2 of Hate the Way It Feels So Good. Did you read it?
I started to, but I
Okay.
didn't get to finish. How is it?
It's so good. So I
Oh my
love
God.
so it was like a part 2 and they just made it chapter 2 of the same fic. Love the way it hurts so deep. And then I think it was like I had downloaded the updated version with the
Hmm.
chapter 2 and it said like 2 of 2, like that was it. And then later I checked back and it says 2 of 3
Yes.
because
Yes.
they're going to write a third chapter, which
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin it. Like I don't want to spoil anything for you. So I'm going to like not really say too much about it,
Ooh,
but
okay.
it's a little bit later
Okay.
and it's not really a spoiler, I guess. It's just like how they tie together because it was just kind of like a standalone, happened like at the
Yeah.
mall while Steve works at Scoops Ahoy.
Yeah.
But it's now tied into like, okay, that was actually canon, Steve working at Scoops Ahoy.
Ooh, okay.
Then everything in season 3 kind of goes down.
When the
And so
mall's gone.
now yes, the mall's gone. We're picking up like post season 3, but pre season 4.
Oh.
So I'm
Ooh.
hoping like the chapter 3 is like, like maybe during season 4 or after season 4. So
Oh my God.
that'll be interesting.
I will read it probably tomorrow morning. And like I said, next episode, we'll talk about it. I did read their latest story. It's only one chapter so far. I am dying for an update because it leaves on such a cliffhanger. Morning
Yeah.
berries, we love you. We are your biggest cheerleaders.
Biggest
Woo!
fans. Yeah, so I read that, loved it, absolutely loved it. Okay, I was determined that I was also going to finish Sneaky Link. And
Ah,
hold on, let
ah,
me open it. I have like it says 8 pages left in chapter. So
you
like
got this, girl.
it's like I'm so close. Like I'm really, really close to the end. I mean, a page is like a
Mm.
screen on my phone. So I'm super close to the end, but even the last chapter, like it's
Whew.
just so good.
It's just, I don't know. After I read some of their stuff, I'm like, that was amazing. Like it's so good. And one thing I'm thinking about, and you'll have to let me know if you agree, yes, this could be part of merch, but maybe we could start shouting out some of our favorite Stevie artists or art
Yes.
pieces
Yep.
because man, there are some great ones out there, guys. And most of my living room is covered in them. So we'll have to definitely shout them out. I know you have some prints that you're waiting to hang up. and
Yeah.
stickers and stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe that's something next episode we'll definitely start shouting out.
Oh, you know what else I read?
Ooh, what?
The Valentine Experience.
Oh my Lanta.
It was
How
so good.
good was that? I was
It was so
blushing,
good.
dude. I was like,
Yeah.
so
It's
well done.
it's like you're in Steve's head a lot, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And it was just very like immersive because it was like his thoughts. I was having a lot of thoughts.
He was having a lot of thoughts, and it's like fireworks going off because at first you're like, oh, this is a cute little sloper. They're going on a date. They go to the arcade. They go and eat.
Yeah.
When they go back to make cookies, I love him being like, we ought to take those cookies up. They're going to burn. Guys,
Yeah.
it's fucking filthy. And it's so well done. If you're looking for just like smut that hits, it's a one shot. Go for it. But like I said, you got to read the one where he has a migraine, dude. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I have
woo!
to read that one too. But Steve kind of like admits like
Mm-hmm.
and then Eddie's reaction,
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was like, this is delicious.
Delicious. That's the best way we can describe that.
And then I really
Delicious.
wanted to make those chocolate chip cookies after. Did you see like in
Oh,
the author's note, they're like, yes, actually make that recipe. Like, don't skip
I
on the sea salt.
cannot. You know what we should do? We should really further down the line make them and talk if they're good because I'm sure
Yeah.
they're delicious. Oh
Yeah.
man,
Maybe
guys,
I'll make those cookies this
that
weekend.
would be fantastic. Please do.
Oh,
Ah, man.
did I read anything else that I wanted to talk about? I'm 67% now for I Come Back to the Place You Are.
When you are
So
done, we're gonna have to do a deep dive about that one because that's one of my tops.
it's so good. Okay, I'm really excited about this fic. And it's a friend of mine, Amy,
Ooh.
Weird Witchcraft, and they're writing it with another author, Wabi Sabi Poppy. Let me read you the summary.
Okay.
Two men walk into a gay bar. One thinks he's straight, one thinks he's vanilla. Both of them are idiots.
Send that to me immediately, please.
I think they released the first two chapters, but
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be like a few chapters. So I think I kind of want to read just what they've released so far if I
Yeah,
have time. And then I'll just follow it as they're updating because it sounds so good.
that sounds excellent. Yes, please send me that.
Oh, the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so there's this, it's like a fan auction going on, and it's called Fandom Trumps Hate. So
Oh
it's
my
kind of
God.
like for a good cause, and it's like a
Yeah.
big thing, like multi fandoms.
Yeah.
But I was like considering offering a podfic and I didn't get around to like signing up, but I wanted
Yeah.
to like give it like a little shout out. And there are some Stranger Things writers and podfickers that are kind of like doing things for the auction. So
Yeah.
what happens is like you bid on these things, and then if you get the winning bid, you make a donation, and there's like some suggested
Yeah.
organizations that you can donate to, and they all go to like really great causes, or the person who's offering the item might also like suggest the organizations that they would like you to donate to, but
Love that.
you make the donation, and then in return they gift you like whatever you bid on, right? So
Ooh.
the ones that I went through today, the ones that I wanted to like kind of put out there that people could bid on. So one of my favorite podfic narrators, Rattle and Hum, they are offering a podfic. So
Ooh.
they are in other fandoms as well, but Stranger Things is one of the fandoms. So you can bid on a podfic of any fic that like already exists up to 20,000 words, and they will make you that podfic. So I
That's
have like a lot in
amazing.
mind. I like
Oh yeah.
kind of want to bid on all of these things myself, so I really shouldn't be putting it out there. But it's good. It's for a good
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to brainstorm and see if there's like a podfic that we would want them to
Oh,
make that we could bid on.
damn. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive, but that's exciting.
There's another podfic narrator that I don't know. They've only made one Stranger Things podfic so far, but I'm gonna
Hmm.
listen to it and see like if I would like them to make me a podfic.
Yeah, hell yeah. Whew.
But this was what it was exciting, and I like don't know if I have like enough like ideas,
Mhm.
but two of our favorite authors are offering fics for this
Oh
auction.
my god.
So one of them is O Stars. So they are actually offering two fics.
Oh my
So
god.
one, it's kind of like 1,000 words guaranteed at your $10 minimum bid. Every $5 more is another 1,000 words. So like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So just like depending on your donation, like you could get like a longer fic, and then the other one is like 10 to 20,000 words also.
Nice.
So like I thought it was interesting. They said like they are open to tropes, but tend to lean towards family and kid fics, which is like
Okay. All right.
definitely like what you were kind of talking about
Yep.
with the kids. And then the other author is Vio, who is Adore,
Oh,
Adure.
that's a
Yeah,
good
Adore.
one. Yep.
Love them so much. So they're offering less than 5,000 words. Like they'll write a fic. Minimum bid is $5.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure they will go for higher, but
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Like if I could have a fic about anything, like if I
Oh
could
my god.
request it,
I'd
like
be like, you guys can't judge me. I'm gonna get real filthy. You know, I'd be like
yeah,
that.
they also have like you know, like what they won't do kind of thing.
Damn, Stacey, we'll have to read that because you know me. Yep.
So I think it's a really cool project, and I just wanted to give it like a little shout out since I didn't
Love
end
that.
up participating, but maybe I'll do it next year. And they have like the whole year, the whole calendar year to like make your project or whatever. So
Hmm.
a cool way that like fandom is like supporting a good cause, I think.
Love that.
Yeah. So that was the other thing I wanted to shout out.
Whew. So cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a fun little chat,
It was. We had a lot of
as
fun doing
always.
this.
Yeah, and we have lots to read and lots to talk about moving forward, I think. So it'll be fun.
Yep. Can't wait. Pumped, guys.
All right. Well, we are done for tonight. We will talk to you soon. And again, over and out.
Over and out.